celebrating 15 years of Young Turks.
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Young Turks. We come to you from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. On the show today, we are going to be bringing you all the action from the third edition of the Airbnb Open.
This is literally just the beginning.
Any company that has aspirations to be around in the long term, to create a true generational brand, finds new and different ways to diversify itself.
And of course, an insider's look into the startup scene in LA. So let's get started with a big announcement by home rental unicorn Airbnb, the launch of the world of trips.
We think travel can be magical and easy. Over the last couple years, we've been working on what I'd love to show you right now. The new Airbnb app now lets users book tours and activities via trips and experiences, as well as offers highly curated insider city guides with recommendations for meetups and restaurants under the Places tab. Now, San Francisco headquartered Airbnb is presently valued at over $30 billion, and co-founder and CEO Brian Chesky hinted that flights, car rentals, restaurant reservations, and even grocery delivery services might soon be available through the Airbnb app. This is literally just the beginning. And I mean literally. I mean, we even have more spaces in this icon.
The founders and a core team has been working on this platform for the past 4 years. But what makes the timing of the launch interesting is that it comes at a time when the accommodation provider is facing a regulatory crackdown for skewing the home rental markets in cities like New York, San Francisco, Berlin, amongst others. In fact, some of the protests came in too close for comfort during Chesky's fireside chat with actor and early investor in Airbnb, Ashton Kutcher.
How are you? It's so interesting how bringing people together. I can appreciate that it does not happen easily. I can appreciate that where there is change, there will be a fringe case that feels objectified. But this company is about bringing people together.
Now we caught up with Joe Gebiot, co-founder and chief product officer of Airbnb, to find out how trips will most likely transform Airbnb from being a one-trick website. This is a phrase that Reid Hoffman used, to a fully integrated travel platform.
I think when most new ideas are introduced to the world, they can be very easily misunderstood. And actually there's a whole history of things that are commonplace, everyday conveniences that in their initial pioneering stages were regulated and misunderstood. If
regulators were to come down, and if they did come down heavily, it would considerably hit the home share, home rental part of the business of Airbnb. And from that point of view, it's actually strategic that you're now venturing into this affiliate business of sorts.
Any company that has aspirations to be around in the long term, to create a true generational brand, finds new and different ways to diversify itself. And to add, as one of our investors says, layers to the cake. So Amazon's a great example. They started with e-commerce. Now they offer web hosting services and Alexa and Echo and the Kindle, and they've found many different ways to diversify their offering. And I think in the same spirit, this is our first step into diversifying what Airbnb offers.
Do you think that you could have started proactively engaging governments and municipalities? Because now what appears is that whatever Airbnb is doing is more defensive in that sense.
Well, Airbnb was started because of a rent check that went up in our apartment. So our DNA is actually based on helping people afford their rent. And I think in some of these cities, if we never existed, rents would still be going up. So I think the majority of our customers are people who are able to supplement their rent by using their extra room or their whole apartment when they're not there. So I think it's a way for people to stay in cities even as rents are rising.
Okay, Joe, moving on, let's talk about Samara, which in many ways is your baby within Airbnb. We saw the first product launch from Samara happen in the form of Cedar House in Japan, a sort of community living project.
Of course, so Samara is a design studio with Airbnb, and it's really thinking about how we build on new attitudes around sharing and trust. And so the Yoshino Cedar House in Japan is an example of us seeking to find ways, in this case, under the humanitarian lens, and how we might help rural revitalization take place. So the house in Japan combines a community center with an Airbnb, so guests get to interact with locals in the village from the minute they arrive, and conversely the village gets to benefit from the economics of guests coming. There's a lot of other rural areas around the world, from Korea to France, that could also benefit from this as well.
Alright Joe, going forward, what is the big 5-year plan? Are we likely to see an IPO happen, or is that not on the cards at all?
Well, we have no plans to go public. It's still a private company. We've got a lot of work to do, and I think really thinking about our community and our product and what's next would be better use of our time than thinking about an IPO.
Alright, and you don't hope to achieve all of this on your own, because I know Brian in his presentation as well referred to this, that you all were working with some of local partners in America to build out the Trips platform. And is that something that we are likely to see in other parts of the world as well?
I think we'll provide the global architecture and platform, and then really look to local providers and local startups and local innovators and entrepreneurs to help fill in the gaps, so that if someone's traveling to India, local Indian services can be provided to guests coming from abroad or traveling domestically, solving problems that we may never even know about. But through the Trips platform, we can create that space for other entrepreneurs and other startups to build on top of.
And the India Connect goes further. Delhi is one of the 50 cities where Airbnb Trips will be launched in the next 1 year. We caught up with Airbnb India head Amanpreet Bajaj to find out where the India business stands.
We have more than 18,000 listings across more than 100 cities in India now, and we are seeing this grow at more than about 115% year on year. We are clearly seeing more people looking for authentic experiences and wanting to stay with Airbnb hosts throughout India. So the number of people traveling on Airbnb, whether it's outbound or within India, has also grown by almost 200% now.
Sure, and one of the customizations for India actually has been, a partnership with a traditional travel agency like Thomas Cook. What is the thought behind this,
Clearly in India, a lot of travel counseling happens offline, and this was something that we were receiving emails about, that we would like to know more about Airbnb from a travel counselor, etc. So what we did was test out a pilot. As you rightly said, it's never been done anywhere in the world, and it has been quite a successful pilot altogether.
And another thing that Airbnb India has done, I would say proactively, is actually engage with certain governments and the tourism ministry even.
I think we have a very positive working relationship with many regulatory bodies in India. Recently we signed an MOU with the government of Gujarat, and I think the basic aim for us is to bring those homes in Gujarat on the platform. Our biggest strength is the 191 country network that we have. More people world over are traveling on Airbnb, and we want to bring in more foreign tourists into our country.
Well, on that note, it's time for a break on Young Turks, but there's a lot more action lined up from the Airbnb Open and from the startup scene in LA, so stay tuned.
Celebrating 15 years of Young Turks.